Climate change is affecting all of us. Extreme weather events, resource shortages, sea level rise, overpopulation, and wealth stratification, carbon emissions are rising, causing climate change to influence all of our lives. Studying abroad produces a significant amount of CO2 emissions amongst students, and we at the University of Florida need to take responsibility for our carbon footprint and do what we can to reduce it. We're the last generation who can reverse the immense damage done to our planet, and you can help by doing your part. It's time to stand up and take responsibility for our choices and demand more sustainable alternatives to our unsustainable lifestyle. Discover the alternatives with us and immerse yourself in a new study abroad experience. The desire for foreign experiences should not limit students, but empower them. Empower them to stop embarking on programs that have such a big carbon footprint. Stop traveling thousands of miles to find a country exotic enough to satisfy their camera lens. The experiences a student may gain in Mexico, Canada, Costa Rica, or even in a different part of the United States is just as valuable as any other lesson learned overseas. This is why our proposed solution to educate and reduce international travel carbon emissions is to promote more local programs and shift the culture of studying abroad from one of luxury and inaccessibility into one where emphasis is placed on experience over location. The ability to take a train or bus to your experiential learning program in North America instead of taking a 12-hour flight to South Africa is a monumental step towards reducing carbon emissions. If we're able to successfully shift UF study abroad culture so that students desire programs closer to Gainesville, then we're talking about thousands of tons of reduced carbon emissions. That's our goal. In order to understand this complex adaptive issue, it's important to first have a solid grasp on the relationships between stakeholders. The University of Florida gets funding from the state government, which disallows use of those funds for any environmental initiatives, rendering this stakeholder irrelevant to our current conversation. We Are Neutral is an environmental nonprofit local to Gainesville that is integral to our proposed solution, but until then is a low-stakes stakeholder. They currently hold no influence over the problem or the implementation of our solution, and will only come into play once they are under contract to offset the carbon emissions of our programs. UF as an institution dictates the amount of money provided to departments such as the Office of Sustainability and the International Center. The International Center's Study Abroad Office has the most to gain from the implementation of sustainable initiatives, since they'll be the ones running more local international programs. These experiences should come at a lower cost to both students and operators, meaning the UFIC budget can be stretched to provide more support for more students. The Office of Sustainability also stands to improve its image based on these alternative programs, showing that they are able to help effect positive change both on and off campus at UF. Promoting low-impact travel options aligns with the office's mission statement and allows UF students to practice what we try to preach. UF collegiates represent one large stakeholder that contains two very different groups to factor in: the perspective of students who intend to study abroad and the perspectives of those who don't. For those who are considering international experiences, the ability to choose more local programs may lift a financial burden and ease safety concerns as well, particularly for students who have never traveled abroad before. It also solves the moral dilemma that inevitably arises for the environmentally conscientious student. Is this experience worth the detrimental carbon emissions? And for those who choose to remain in Gainesville for 4 years, this program is a benefit as well. Sustainable initiatives such as this one tend to trigger an influx of funding for the university, meaning more money available for initiatives to benefit students on campus, not to mention the long-term effects of reduced carbon emissions that will help the world on a small scale.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about current frames and power structures. Looking at this issue through a symbolic frame offers us valuable insight, giving us clues as to how the system came to be the way it is. The Study Abroad Office aims to provide students with varied and exotic destinations for their study abroad experiences in order to help them fulfill both their personal and academic goals. For many students, the experience of studying abroad is tied to the ideas of glamour and growth. Glamour is the destination's excitement and beauty, and the intrinsic growth that comes with international travel. There's a narrative in place tied to the exclusive nature of travel, that it's only for those with rich parents or those who are willing to backpack through dirty hostels and really rough it. Students who work to afford studying abroad or apply for scholarships get to feel like they're in the club and therefore may have even higher expectations for their program to fulfill. That's why there's so much administrative focus on offering faraway programs, where students will be able to fully immerse themselves the culture of another continent and come back feeling brand new. High expectations accompanied by high price tags lead to farther and more intricate study abroad programs. But we should also look at the Office of Sustainability. This is a body with a serious lack of funding, making it hard for them to implement or influence any sustainable change. As a result, they largely have to focus on tokenistic actions like handing out reusable water bottles and recycled pens, stunts that are more a marketing tactic than an environmentally friendly one. The Office of Sustainability has no real power at UF. Who does have the power? Students, with their ability to rally together in the university administration in charge of budgeting. If students created a demand for more local programs created with sustainability in mind, the university would have to pay attention. And with the UF administration on board, all that's left to do is negotiate the details with university stakeholders and make a change. Students will be affected by the implementation of this solution by having an increased knowledge of sustainable travel efforts and may feel empowered to make a more sustainable travel destination choice. In addition, it will be cheaper for students to have alternative experiences that are closer and more sustainable for those who cannot afford to travel to far places. The Office of Sustainability would have less carbon emissions to offset if this solution was implemented. They have a goal of offsetting the campus by 2025, and this is one less thing they would have to prioritize. The Study Abroad Office would like to see additional funding from this initiative to further develop non-traditional travel experiences and allow more students the experience to study abroad. For the Study Abroad Office, this solution is not their priority. They just want students to have a good international experience. This is also not a priority for the Office of Sustainability. However, educating students on how to reduce their carbon footprint would benefit the office in their goal of offsetting UF by 2025. With regards to resources, the Study Abroad Office receives funding federally, and their budget is decided by executive directors on Capitol Hill each year. The students as stakeholders want these resources or the money to assist with studying abroad. Currently, students value international experiences and efficient use of monetary resources above all else. Loyalties involve the marketing of UF's programs in Madagascar, Ireland, Germany, etc., making sure that these international programs run with a full amount of students paying for the programs. The Study Abroad Office fears losing these resources, such as the money and the students interested in traveling, as well as the prestige of offering a wide variety of international programs. Students might feel pressure to go abroad closer to help their carbon emissions. In addition, UF's corporate partners have hidden alliances with the University of Florida, such as Pepsi.
The strategic goal of the Office of Sustainability is that by spreading awareness through education initiatives on UF's campus, that the strategy of education and personal carbon footprint awareness will help further the personal responsibility of students to the environment. The objective is to address the strategy and develop stronger environmental and sustainability curriculum in all majors throughout UF, and to work to spread awareness of the curriculum offered. Working with clubs and local environmental nonprofits to promote awareness would help students understand how their personal carbon footprint is affecting the earth. In addition, having members of the office to visit other universities who have already implemented a similar program would be helpful learning experiences. The office would evaluate what has worked and what needs improvements. The American University would be a great case study for the department. To measure the success of the program, the office would then survey students to see knowledge level on the issue and look at the KPIs, such as student involvement of programs, surveying small students samples after the program started for 3 months to understand the knowledge of sustainability, providing a $5 Amazon gift card to students who take the survey in an email discussing their knowledge of sustainability and environmentalism 1 year after the program starts, and working with the environmental nonprofit We Are Neutral to spread awareness at their events. The Study Abroad Office strategic goal is to shift the perception and priority of international travel to a more environmentally friendly experience without losing the value of education and experience in a far foreign place. The strategy is to provide students with incentives to opt into programs that are closer, such as cheaper travel, housing alternatives, and comparable educational experiences at accredited international schools. The objective is to improve this to local schools and programs that are closer, such as American University, to set up meetings with the Office of Sustainability and prospective universities. Identifying dates and times, collecting funds to make the trip possible, meeting with the people at those schools, learning from them, analyzing the positive and the negatives, and then applying it at UF is how this would all be implemented. To measure the success of the program, the office would look to provide pre- and post surveys to evaluate the knowledge level of this issue. The strategic goal of students at UF is to study in a closer location to the university. This will provide a cheaper and more sustainable alternative to traveling abroad, opening the opportunity for more students to travel within UF. The strategy is to save money and improve personal carbon footprint. The objective is to address the strategy by comparing the cost of each program and the carbon footprint of staying closer, and allowing the students the cost analysis of understanding how they can save money, and more people could therefore study abroad and expanding their experience. The KPI of this would be to compare and develop curriculum and work with the Office of Sustainability and the Travel Abroad Office to implement this curriculum and education. The KPI would survey students to see their knowledge of the issue and see if any students would be interested in a more local program. And if so, would this increase the number of students that would be studying abroad because of the alternative? Climate change is affecting us all. We're the last generation who can reverse the immense damage done to our planet, and you can help by doing your part. It's time to stand up and take responsibility for our choices and demand more sustainable alternatives to our unsustainable lifestyle. Discovering the alternatives with us and immersing yourself in a new study abroad experience will help this.